Yeah, I think it would be very nice. So we will continue reading the Krishna book. We are on the 50th chapter, Deliverance of Muchukundu, the king. I'll read maybe 3, 4 lines to bring up to the speed, and then we will continue. I'm very affectionately inclined toward my devotees. And in your previous life, before your present conditions, you acted as my great devotee and prayed for my causeless mercy. So we can see, even if we sincerely pray, Krishna never forget. He will remember life after life, what we are looking for. I have, therefore, come to see you to fulfill your desire. Now you can see me to your heart's content. As Sachinandan Swami Maharaj was saying that for so many personality, even Krishna can come in front of us, we won't be able to recognize. So unless we have a devotion in our heart. One devotee has posted his number, so please give me a moment to jot it down, his number. I love to stay in contact. So just give me 1 minute. As Krishna keep the list of his devotees who chant his holy name, so I also want to stay in contact. And it was very inspiring that I was listening that Sachinandan Swami Maharaj was saying also that if you come in contact with some devotees, please have the relationship with them as long as you are existing in this world. So I hope we can have the eternal relationship with all of you. My dear King, now you can ask from me any benedictions that you wish. Always Krishna does that, Nrsimhadev also asked Prahlad Maharaj, what do you want? Tell me. And I'm prepared to fulfill your desire. It is my eternal principle that anyone who comes under my shelter must have all his desire fulfilled by my grace. What a boon. But we have no interest, huh? We go on the other directions, flickering happiness looking in the material world, which will never be satisfying to our heart because there is no connections with our soul. So now we will continue. When Lord Krishna ordered King Muchukunda to ask a benediction from him, the king became very joyful. And he immediately remembered the prediction of Garg Muni, who had foretold, please everyone keep your phone muted. We don't want to have any distractions. Thank you. So when Lord Krishna ordered King Muchukunda to ask a benediction from him, the king became extremely joyful. And he immediately remembered the predictions of Garg Muni, who had foretold long before that in the 28th millennium of Vaivastava Munu, Lord Krishna would appear on this planet. And as soon as he remembered this prediction, he began to understand that Supreme Person Narayan was present before him as Lord Krishna. He immediately fell down at his lotus feet and began to pray as follows. So we should also have the prayer in our mind and heart, because you never know when Krishna will show up in our life. we have to be ready to offer obeisances and make the appropriate prayer to him. So this is our Acharyas teaching us, prepare ourselves. What Muchukunda is praying, my dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, I can understand that all living entities on these planets are illusion by your external energy. What a great realization. And are enamored of the illusory satisfaction of sense gratification. Being fully engaged in illusory activities, Haribol, he is really giving us the real good points. They are reluctant to worship your lotus feet. And because they are unaware of the benefit of surrendering unto your lotus feet, they are subjected to various miserable conditions of material existence. Haribol. They are foolishly attached to so-called society, friendship and love, which simply produce different kind of miserable conditions. Haribol. Illusion by your external energy. Everyone, both man and woman, is attached to this material existence. And all are engaged in cheating one another in a great society of the cheaters and the cheated. These foolish persons, Muchukunda is doing a great service to all of us, waking up us from sleeping position. These foolish persons do not know how fortunate they are to have obtained this human form of life. And they are still reluctant to worship your lotus feet. By the influence of your external energy, they are simply attached to the glare of material activities. They are attached to so-called society, friendship, and love, like dumb animals that have fallen into a dark well. Haribol. The example of the dark well is given because in the field there are many wells unused for years and covered over by the grass. And the poor animals, without knowing of them, fall into them. And unless they are rescued, they die, being captivated by a few blades of grass. The animal fall into a dark well and meet the death. And that's what happened to human being. Similarly, foolish persons, without knowing the importance of the human form of life, if we have understood the importance, then we should give importance to those things. And it should show up in our life, practical life, that yes, we have accepted this process is prominent. Then we should give more time of the day. Simple is that. So it says, similarly, the foolish persons, without knowing the importance of the human form of life, they spoil it simply for sense gratification and die unnecessarily without any useful purpose. This Muchukunda's prayer is so wonderful. He still continued, my dear Lord, I am not an exception to this universal law of material nature. I am also one of those foolish persons. This is the greatness of the great devotees. They always take the fallen position than all. That's how they get the complete shelter and mercy of Krishna. This is also the lesson we should learn, that if you want to gain something, we have to become genuinely from within our heart. We should understand our position and become humble. I'm also one of those foolish person who has wasted his time for nothing. As I was writing to a couple of devotees, that place every moment that passed by, you can never purchase it back. Utilize your moments wisely. And my position is especially difficult on account of my being situated in the royal order. He is explaining where those opulence is there, it's detrimental. Janme, Shriya, Shrutir, Shibir, all these good qualities materially is devastated for the spiritual life. I was more puffed up than ordinary persons. An ordinary man thinks of becoming the proprietor of his body or of his family. But I begin to think in that way on a larger scale. I wanted to be the master of the whole world. And as I become puffed up with the idea of sense gratification, my bodily concept of life became stronger and stronger. My attachment for home, wife and children, for money, and for supremacy over the world became more and more acute. In fact, it was limitless. So I remain always attached to the thoughts of my material living conditions, and that's what we do. We try to solve all kind of problems. We know for sure that all the problem, no matter how many problems you will solve, other problem is waiting just that you solve that problem, another is ready. And we try to just solve those problems, wasted our life. But if you take complete shelter of the holy name, you don't have to put any energy to solve any problem. It will automatically will be dismissed from your path, and your path will become so peaceful, so glorious that we can enjoy this human form of life. Muchukunda is continued. He is giving really, I like this prayer, you know. Therefore, my dear Lord, I wasted so much of my valuable lifetime without any benefit. My misconception of life having been intensified. Look at the wording he is using. I began to think of this material body, which is just a bag of flesh and bones, as all in all. And in my vanity, I was like a dog who believes that he has become the king of the human society. What a great humility he is using, comparing with the dog. In this misconception of the bodily life, I began to travel all over the world, accompanied by my military strength, soldiers, charioteers, elephants, and horses. Assisted by many commanders and puffed up by power, I could not trace out your Lordship, who is always sitting within my heart as the most intimate friend. Haribol. What a great prayer. I did not care for you. And this was the fault of my so-called exalted material conditions. You know, Bhogeshwarya Prakastanam, Bhagavad Gita says, all this material opulence, we will never get a sincere desire to surrender to Krishna. We should be very poor in all material situations if he wants to remain intact in our devotion. I did not care for you, and this was the fault of my so-called exalted material conditions. I think that, like me, all living creatures are careless about spiritual realizations and are always full of anxieties, thinking, what is to be done? What is next? But because we are strongly bound by the material desires, we continue to remain in craziness. Haribol. Man, these prayers are so awakening. He continued, he is a very kind person. Yet, in spite of our being so absorbed in material thought, inevitable time, which is only a form of yourself, is always careful about its duty. And as soon as the allotted time is over, your Lordship immediately ends all the activities of the material realms. This is written down our time. As Harita Swami Maharaj was saying that when he sit in the airport, people are so much rushing, moving around. And Maharaj was saying, man, just look on your forehead, the expiry date is written. Become aware of that. As the time factor, you and all our activities, as the hungry black snake swiftly swallow up a small rat without any leniency. Due to the action of cruel time, the royal body, which was always decorated with gold ornaments during life, and which moved on a chariot drawn by beautiful horses, or on the back of an elephant nicely decorated with golden ornaments, and which was advertised as the king of human society. That same royal body decomposes under the influence of inevitable time and becomes fit for being eaten by worms and insects, or being turned into ashes or the stool of an animal. This beautiful body may be nice while in the living conditions, but after that, even the body of a king is eaten by an animal and therefore turns into stool, or is cremated in the crematorium and turned into the ashes, or is put into an earthly grave where different kind of worms and insects are produced out of it. And this prayer is so beautiful. I think we should really meditate on Muchukunda's prayer. He continued. How much realization he's sharing, When he met with Krishna, he is able to speak from his heart. My dear Lord, not only do we become under the full control of this inevitable time after death, but also while living in a different way. For example, I may be a powerful king, and yet when I come home after conquering over the world, I become subjected to many material conditions. It may be that when I come back after being victorious, all subordinate come and offer their respects. But this is the great thing, but as soon as I entered into the inner section of my palace, I myself become an instrument in the hand of the queens. And for sense gratification, I have to fall down at the feet of the woman. The material way of life is so complicated that before taking the enjoyment of material life, one has to work so hard that there is scarcely an opportunity for enjoying. We work hard, never have time to even relax. Haribol. That's why I like that previous, older life, that our parents used to work only 4 months, and 8 months they were enjoying the vacation. What a life was. And to attain the youthful condition with all material facilities, one has to undergo severe austerity and penances and become elevated to the heavenly planets. If one gets the opportunity of taking birth in a very rich or royal family, even then, in that condition, he is always anxious to maintain the status quo and prepare for the next life by performing various kind of sacrifices and by distributing charity. Even in the royal condition of life, one is not only full of anxiety, but because of the political administration, but he is also in anxiety over being elevated to heavenly planets because he knows these are not the good planets, temporary happiness. Muchukunda is continuing. It is therefore very difficult to get out of the material entanglement. Man, these words are so nice. We should not take it, the spiritual life, so easy. Like Maharaj was saying, that if you don't create the taste for chanting, just because as a duty, how long would you keep on going? You will give up one day, definitely. We should be so sincere, at least when we pick up our beads. Don't put your hand in the japa bag and walk around on Sunday feast. I really, it's hurt my heart when I see the devotees walking around with the japa beads, touching the beads and talking to the devotees. That habit will ruin our devotion. We should be so attentive to the japa bead. We should respect them as Krishna. So many devotees, nice devotees, but they carry the japa bead and they touch the beads and they talk to devotees. What a shame. It is therefore very difficult to get out of the material entanglement. But somehow or other, if one is favored by you, those are the people you need to seek out, beg the mercy of Krishna. Then and then we can advance. By your mercy only he is given the opportunity to associate with a pure devotee. That is the beginning point of liberation from the entanglement of material conditions life. My dear Lord, only by the association of pure devotees is one entrapped by your Lordship. Haribol. Who is the controller of both the material and spiritual existences? You are the supreme goal of all pure devotees. And by association with pure devotees, one can develop his dormant love for you. Therefore, Muchukunda is telling us, development of Krishna consciousness in the association of pure devotees is the cause of liberation from this material entanglement. So we'll stop here with wonderful. Still, Muchukunda is so kind that he is continuing his realizations and prayers to Krishna. This is how Krishna becomes attractive. You accept at least once in your heart and tell Krishna, what are your thoughts in your life? How fallen you have become. Accept your fallen position. Don't be proud of anything. Then and then Krishna will show his mercy as Muchukunda is advising us. What a great king he is, actually, that having the kings, still he has perfect realization of his life. And that's the only reason he got a chance to see the Lord face to face. And it also shows that Krishna will never forget your intense desire. It may take maybe life like Muchukunda. It may take many lives. But Krishna will fulfill all our desires. What a great boon by worshipping Krishna. So I hope that this Muchukunda's message will sink into our heart eternally. and keep us awakened at all the time to remind us the effect of the time. As Muchukunda was saying, time never leave anybody. So with those thoughts, at least we are come in contact with the pure devotees of dear Srila Prabhupada and his follower. There is a hope that we can cross over this nuisance of material existence once and for all. So with those thoughts, always remain happy, jubilant, and totally fearless. And whoever you come across, give them a kind word that their life can also become successful, enjoyable, and no anxiety and no fear in the life. So those devotees, I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the dusk of their feet, who join every morning from Houston, from Fresno, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Aurora, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Boston, Boise, Atlanta, Phoenix, Tempe, Austin, College Station, San Jose, Portland, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago, Naperville, Philadelphia, Charlotte, Baltimore, Baton Rouge, Alachua, Orlando, Jacksonville, Ohio, St. Louis, San Diego, Loganville, Georgia, Maine, Ottawa, New Orleans, Laguna Beach, Vancouver, Toronto, Kolkata, and New Delhi. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhaya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.